If you want a happy ending, that depends, of course, on where you stop your story. Orson Welles. That really sums it up, doesn't it? I grew up in the 90s, so in my day, stories reached their logical conclusion, happy ending achieved, and whatever happened to our heroes after that was up to your imagination. But in recent years, we've gotten the legacy sequel, which typically refers to a sequel that takes place many years after the previous film. But what does that legacy sequel typically entail? Well, let's see. It takes place many years after the previous film, focusing on new characters, while featuring the original characters in elderly supporting roles, and sometimes those beloved characters will die at the end of the story to make way for a new generation. Now, please bear in mind that this is not to necessarily debate the quality of some of these films on their own merit. Some of these might be genuinely good movies, and I'm not here to dispute that. Let's just list a few, and I'm not going to go into all of them as I haven't seen all of these films, but I will talk about the reaction to some of them and how they differed. Han Solo, Leia, Luke Skywalker, Wolverine, Xavier, Michael Keaton Batman, Indiana Jones, Deckard, Flynn, Neo and Trinity, Danny from The Shining,
Laurie from Halloween,
Sarah Connor, the entire original cast of Jurassic Park to a lesser extent, Bill and Ted, Rocky Balboa, Ray Stantz, Egon Spengler, though we can excuse this one due to Harold Ramis passing away, Rambo, and even the Terminator.
Forward to 1969, and Indy is old and grumpy and getting separated, and his son has died, and he's sad. He's so sad.
Oh my god.
You know, see, that's the thing. When you bring back an old character that people love, you gotta make them sad and miserable. I don't make the rules.
Do I?
I don't know. Somebody must have made that rule, though, because we keep doing that.
Let's look at a few examples. In Logan, Wolverine is a man at the end of his rope. He's old, bitter, everyone he's ever known is dead, and the world sucks. Yet he finds a bit of a light in discovering someone who is essentially his daughter, ultimately giving his life so that she may find her own path.
This is what it feels like.
This was well done and received very well, and I think I know why. The general movie-going audience had nearly 2 decades worth of stories where Wolverine was a young badass, so they had gotten their fill of him. So seeing the character in an old, broken state was pretty interesting. In the case of Rocky Balboa, the character's whole appeal is pulling himself out of low points. Rambo was always a shell-shocked veteran. With Michael Keaton Batman, Batman's probably one of the first old, broken heroes in fiction, with Batman Beyond being a notable example. A show that I think would be a lot more controversial and divisive if it were made today, but that's another story. Still waiting on a Michael Keaton Batman Beyond movie, Warner Bros. Make it before it's too late. Harrison Ford had all 3 of his most famous roles fall into this category. Guess he just likes doing it. However, here's a case where it backfired for audiences, as evidenced by the countless YouTube videos that were made about The Last Jedi. It had been over 30 years since audiences had seen Luke in a movie, and there had been tons of stories in the old expanded universe where Luke succeeded in starting a new Jedi Order. Thus, given the official story, actually Luke tried and failed to start one, but it's okay because Rey will succeed. A very hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I'm not saying that there wasn't hardship in the old expanded universe, because there was, but I wasn't an overt follower of the old EU, so I can't say. So seeing Luke as an old, broken failure of a man was a hard sell because it had been so long. It wasn't what people really wanted to see. I know it's hotly debated to this day, as evidenced by the millions of videos that came out about it, but I think it's why it elected such a strong reaction. In contrast, let's look at Top Gun Maverick. The sequel doesn't have Maverick as an old, broken hero. Sure, his life hasn't been perfect by any means, but when it comes to his craft, he's still the best at what he does. He's too old? A fossil? Nope, he's still the best pilot you got. In fact, the movie is better for not following the old, broken hero path. And it was a relief to see age portrayed with wisdom and dignity, not feebleness and failure. I think the box office results proved it. Audiences want legacy characters to be respected. Now to play devil's advocate a little bit. I do understand the whole appeal to an extent. Character is at a low point, and we see them rise out of it and become the hero we know them to be. But it basically means that the happy ending that we saw them achieve at the end of their last movie was all for nothing. Happily Ever After didn't really take. Some may argue that's true of real life, and it is, I suppose, but it makes for lousy escapism. We go to movies because we want to feel better about ourselves, to forget about the awful things currently going on in the world. And in these times, we need that more than ever. Instead, we get very depressing stories about how our heroes failed. What happened after Happily Ever After was never supposed to be answered. Stories had endings, but now they keep going until every last sentence milked dry. They're still trying to milk Terminator when I and many others said goodbye after Terminator 2. It's okay for stories to end because then new stories will take their place. In fact, this is why I'm very glad Back to the Future remains untouched by Hollywood. For now, after both of its creators die, all bets are off. Just let us have our endings. Make new stories with new characters. Let imagination and creativity run free again. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for watching. Please hit that bell, like, and subscribe button. See you next time.